Welcome to Tom Clark's Substack podcast.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about talking heads, for lack of a better term. And I'll probably throw in some politics, like you don't hear enough about that. And I'll also touch on the recent weather we've had here in Western North Carolina and how Hurricane Helene has affected a great many of us. So before I kick things off here today, I want to say thank you to everyone who checks out not only this podcast, but also my other shows, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, Tom Clark's Main Event, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast, all of which are available on boinkstudios.com, B-O-I-N-K, boinkstudios.com. And you can find all of the podcast links there on that website. And you'll also find some other cool stuff there too, including links to the podcasts and social media accounts of my co-hosts, who I love recording with and have just the best time creating content with. So a big thank you to everyone for checking me out and downloading, subscribing, liking, and following everywhere that I am. I do appreciate it. I don't have a massive following, but the following that I do have it is encouraging, and it keeps me going in a world full of, social media talking heads and pundits and the like. Any audience you can get, if you're doing things the right way in terms of you're not spreading hate and you're just trying to create something fun to watch and or listen to, which is what I'm trying to do, then it's good to have what you can get, right? But before all of that, how are you doing? How's everything going for you? How's your week been? Are you in a part of the country that's been affected by Hurricane Helene? Buddy, I am, let me tell you. And it's been a beast to deal with, for sure. So, again, hope you guys out there are doing well. Hope everybody's taking care of yourselves, not only through the storm, but through this political season and everything, everywhere in between. Hope everybody out there is happy and doing okay, and everything is going well for you. For me, I'm still on the job search. I'm still doing contract work on the side and having a great time doing it. And it's a lot of hard work, as I've said previously, but I enjoy doing it. I'm still on the lookout for a full-time gig. There are wheels in motion, sort of behind the scenes. And it's for things that maybe I'm not too crazy about, but things that I may be, kind of forced to take if I don't get anything to materialize in the next couple of weeks or so. But, I count myself fortunate because there's a lot of folks around me who are doing a lot worse than I am. I promise you that. So, I may have had a little bit of a meltdown earlier today, but those things kind of come and go, and it's kind of part of the territory when you tend to, you have a lot coming at you, and you tend maybe to not deal with it as it comes, and you just keep layering upon layering upon layering in your life. Then guess what's going to happen, kids? Like a powder keg, that thing's going to eventually blow, which I may have blown just a little bit this morning, which sounds way dirtier than I meant it to. But by the way, if you know Kevin Smith stuff, you can absolutely hear his influence on my podcast style. I give credit where credit's due. I was fortunate enough to have met Kevin and interviewed him in a job a few years back, and actually got to hang out with him in Texas. Great guy, absolute joy to be around. And I don't use the word idol, but he's definitely one of those guys that I have a massive amount of respect for. And if I had to lose all forms of entertainment that were at my disposal, which would suck because I'm a pop culture geek, as you guys know. And if you don't know, well, now you know. I would ask two things. Number one, can I have my Marvel and my Star Wars? But number three, can I have my Kevin Smith? Everything else you could take. And that would suck because I lose a lot of other cool stuff in the process. But I can't imagine a world that I don't have Clerks, and I don't have Mallrats, and I don't have Jay and Silent Bob. I can't imagine a world in which I don't have Kevin Smith's output and his creative mind and his passion for the genre and his positivity, man. Can I be honest? A lot of what I do is sort of, predicated on a lot of what he's done. I mean, he's one of those guys in our world here in podcasting. I mean, he's one of the guys that was here from the beginning, like him and Marin. Him and Mark Marin are two of the guys that I absolutely call them pioneers, honestly. And I mean, Kevin's been talking for years, long before podcasting became a thing, right? But in terms of what I do, again, the pop culture stuff, the movies, the TV, the comic books, and all that good stuff, even the pro wrestling, I mean, I owe a lot to Kevin Smith. And I managed to tell him that to his face, which was hard to say and get through it without crying because I'm a big softy. But he was flattered. But he hears it all the time. I didn't give him anything he hadn't heard before. Yeah. But yeah, just to know that you have influence on somebody and just know that you've made a positive impact on them. I'm getting emotional right now. It's big, man. It's big. I hesitate to talk about my topics here today. You want to know why? Because I enjoy talking about things that make me happy. And sometimes I talk about things that I don't like. And here's an example of it. May as well get started. The Talking Heads, not the band. Not the band. I enjoy the band. Great bass player. I enjoy the band. I've always been a fan of Talking Heads. I'm talking about Talking Heads on social media. For every wackadoodle Trumper, yes, and I'm saying it, I'm not holding back. For every wackadoodle Trumper who's racist and homophobic and doesn't understand why gay people should be able to, marry, much less speak to each other, much less wear a rainbow flag because that makes people feel a certain kind of way. And never knew that a rainbow could make so many people mad, did you? I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, if I can't wrap my head around it. If you're one of us that doesn't understand the outrage, then I'm sure you can't wrap your head around it either. It's a lot to soak in, isn't it? It's a lot to soak in, man. But never knew that something so simple could make so many people so upset at one time. It's freaking nuts. But for as many of those people are out there who are ride and die with that dude, and no matter what you say or do, no matter what he says and does, they're voting regardless for that idiot. Sorry, again, not holding back. I'm feeling a certain kind of way today. But for as many people who do that, there's just as many people who don't, and who could feel compelled to make these TikToks. And I'm sure it's all coming from TikTok. It's all the vertical video, yeah. TikTok, Instagram stories, Facebook Reels, whatever, Instagram Reels. I mean, when you see it, it's shared on Twitter constantly, yeah, every day, and you get like the liberal accounts, who I follow a good many of them. If I'm being transparent, I follow a good many of them, and they will repost and that kind of thing. But they're just, look, after a while, it just becomes talking heads, man. It just becomes talking heads. I'm looking at one of them right now. I won't mention who it is. I don't even know this person's name. What happens is that these TikToks are shared on Twitter and other social media accounts, and these people aren't tagged. These guys just, repost their videos and everything that's in these videos of these talking heads. They got it all figured out, don't they? Don't they just have it all figured out? Here's my fear, okay? For as much of the stuff that I actually agree with, that I'm hearing and seeing on a daily basis, and I agree with quite a lot of it, if I'm being honest with you. But for as much of that as I see that I hear and agree with, there's just as much I'm like, stop, I can't. It's just this notion of, I'm right. Oh, I'm right. I'm so right. When you keep going down that road, you're starting to annoy me just a little bit. Now, look, am I suggesting that it's not right to take a stand against fascism? Of course not. We should all be taking a stand against fascism. Everybody listening to this should have a problem being told how to live. If you're female, you should have a problem being told what to do with your body. If you're gay or transgender, you should have a problem being told that you shouldn't be those things. Those things should matter to you. So as a result of that, you should be voting for the right person. And that right person is not that guy in a month, right? It's a month away, kids. So I'm not suggesting that you don't listen and that you don't do the right thing. In my opinion, the right thing is to give Kamala Harris your vote. That's my opinion, right? Because again, it's a vote against fascism. We can deal with all the other stuff that comes from voting for her later. And I'm not trying to say it's not important. And I'm not trying to blow it off as if it doesn't matter. I'm also not suggesting that she is dangerous in any way, right? That voting for her could be risky. Voting for anyone can be risky. But this guy's played his hand. He had 4 years. He screwed up. He had a chance. He blew it. But again, I believe voting for him is throwing your vote away. If I'm being completely honest. Do the right thing. That's what I'm saying here. I'm not going to hold back today. I just don't feel like it. But when you keep coming at me with this, I'm right, I got it all figured out. That's when I start getting annoyed. Now, whose fault is that? Is that the people doing the TikToks? Look, can we be honest? Most people do most things they do online for engagement. Can we be blunt here? I mean, even if your message is great, even if you're trying to save the world, even if you're trying to cure cancer, even if you're trying to give people the best thing they've ever seen and or heard in their entire freaking lives, you still want engagement. It all boils down to engagement. I'm sorry, it's how I feel. As someone who's on the opposite end of the spectrum, who creates content that he loves and creates content that he loves creating with his friends, including this show, I'd love to have more engagement. Are you kidding me? I haven't found the magic formula yet. I don't know that I ever will if I'm being blunt about it. I just have to hope that I'm getting in front of as many people as I can, that people dig me enough to listen, to watch. But if they don't, I can't force it to happen. I can't move the needle, by sheer force of will. It's going to move or it's not going to move. And I'm not trying to say that I can't do anything to encourage it. Of course I can, and I do make an effort. Look, all of my existence online is just to be who I am. It's just to create what I love to create. When there's a finished product like a podcast or a column or a social media post or whatever, I like to sit back and look at it and say, man, I created that. That's pretty cool, right? I made this with a friend of mine. It sounds pretty cool. It's fun. We had fun doing that. I had comments on something I wrote. I had a little bit of conversation back and forth with people who agreed or maybe disagreed. That was cool. I enjoyed that. But I don't have millions of followers, man. Right? I'm not there for that. What you're seeing, in my belief, 90% or higher of these talking heads you see on social media, they're only there for engagement. I'm not saying that their motives are impure or they don't have great things to say. They're not trying to do the right thing by delivering their messages of whatever they're trying to talk about today. But the engagement is what matters the most. And look, it's dudes my age and a lot younger. And older, I'm sure. It's all about engagement. It's all it is. And once you understand that, then you can make better decisions. And again, is it their fault for getting engagement? Of course not. You can't blame someone for being alive, right? Or for doing what they do, but you can choose to walk away. You can choose to not listen and or watch as much, which is what I'm choosing to do right now in this moment. I turn off that talking head I was looking at. Actually, the video stopped playing and I don't want to recycle it. I'm not going to hit watch again. I didn't want to watch it the first time. And I'm sure, I had her on mute, I'm sure that she said a lot of things I completely, vehemently agreed with. But guess what? I don't want to go through it right now. Because after a while, you know what happens with talking heads? You know what the problem is? They just start to sound hollow. It just starts to sound like it's not real anymore. It doesn't matter. That's how you know you've been online too long. Whose fault is that? That's Tom's fault, right? That's your fault if you do it. I'm not a big believer in that. Take a break, go touch grass. I'm not that guy. I'm not an outdoorsy dude. I'm a sit on the couch guy. I'm a sit behind the laptop guy. I'm a create content guy. That's who I am. Consume and create. Create and consume. That's who I am. Okay? That's the truth, man. I'm not let's go outside and... I don't dislike the park. I'm not a complete shut-in. Okay? But if you give me my choice of what to do, I'm probably not going to go to the park today. I'm probably going to write something. I'm going to make something. That's who I am, man. That's who I am. Anyway, talking heads, let me tell you. Whew. It's a lot. It's a lot. Put it that way. And I don't want to sum it up and just brush it off by saying it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't want to do that. But I'm just telling you how I feel about it today, man. Again, I can't say I'm in a certain kind of mood. I'm not really in a bad mood, but again, I did have sort of something of a meltdown earlier. If I'm being straight with you, it is what it is. But, I just believe in being honest. I don't believe in being honest, so honest that everyone knows everything about you. I think that's kind of your business. But I believe if you're going to be out in this world, if you're going to be a content creator, if you're going to be asking people to engage with you, then you need to give them the real deal. And maybe that's not true. Maybe you should create a character. Maybe you should be screaming into your mic and pounding the desk like an idiot. Maybe that's what's holding me back, dude. I don't know. But if that's what's holding me back, then I'll never break through because I'm just not that person. I'm me. I'm going to be as honest as I can be, as I want to be all the time. It's just who I am, man. So moving from talking heads into politics is kind of the same thing, isn't it? Let's talk about how everything gets politicized. Number one, who watched the VP debate out there? There's a great meme talking about being on social too much, where it's like on one side you got Trump and he's red faced as always, and he's screaming into the mic, and the word lies is above his head in big bold type. Then you got Vance beside of him, who's standing perfectly still and with a smile on his face, and the word lies is written in cursive with flowers around it. The same thing. That dude lied and lied and lied and lied some more the other night on that debate. And just because he delivered the lies a lot more gracefully than his idiot running mate is, dude, it's still a lie. A lie is a lie, man. Whether you're smiling or you're frowning, doesn't make a difference. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and again, kids, the fact that we are sitting back and believing everything that's said, the fact that people think that this guy's awesome. And I'm going to tell you something. He scored points. I guarantee you he scored points with Trump and his people. And he shouldn't have, because his lies were freaking embarrassing. Freaking embarrassing, man. Okay? Stood up there and got point blank asked, did President Trump lose the last election? Well, look, I want to talk about the future. Are you kidding me? Well, that's asked and answered right there, man. I love how Waltz gave that all shucks look at the screen and said, well, that's a damning non-answer. Yes, it is a damning non-answer. The governor got it right. That's a damning non-answer. Dude, it is absolutely insane that their side has any votes. And look, if you're voting for them and you hate me, or you accidentally clicked onto this, or you clicked onto this because you lost a bet, or you wanted to laugh at the dude in the South and his funny accent, I guess you can. I mean, if that's what makes you happy, I guess you can. Can't stop you, right? It's ridiculous to do so. But I'm telling you, if you're one of those people, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I don't understand what would possess you. And don't talk to me about Kamala. Don't talk to me about Sleepy Joe. I don't want to hear none of that. You point blank ask a Trumper, why are you voting for the guy? And what's his policy? They can't answer. The first thing they'll say is Biden. Biden and Harris. Biden and Harris. Stop. That's how you know they don't have anything. They have nothing. They have hatred. They have rage. They have racism and you know, they're homophobic and transphobic, and they want to completely control you. They want to tell you what to do. They want to tell you where to pray. They want to tell you who to pray to. And they want to tell you what you can do with your body. And I got something else for you. There's a meme. There's a copy and paste bit of hoo-ha nonsense going around on Facebook right now. Let me just tell you right now, dude, I've had enough of it. I'm sick of it. This country was not founded by Christians who wanted us to be Christian. I'm sick of that. Next person that says that, next person that copies and pastes that on Facebook, I'm going to unfriend them. I'm done. I'm done. That is not the case, okay? This country did not have a Christian founding. They did not. It did not. Anyone who believes that is completely 100% wrong. Now, if you want to say that the men who founded this country were inspired by things that maybe align with Christianity, that's fine. That's fine. But when you say to me that this country was founded by Christians, that's the end of the story, you're dead freaking wrong. And it's time to open your eyes. I cannot believe you still believe that. I cannot believe you still believe that. I cannot believe anyone still believes that, dude. I'll never understand how people can still continue to walk around with blinders on. How they continue to walk around with a blindfold on and completely unaware of the world around them. This country was founded on the idea that all men are created equal. It didn't say all Christians are created equal. It also didn't say that Christians are better than anybody else. Can we get that straight? So with that being the case, here's an idea. Stop acting like it. Stop telling people what to do and how to live. Do you see what I mean? And I didn't want this show to become that. I just didn't want that to happen. But I'm telling you right now, the amount of ego that I see that we all see on a daily basis on social media is quite honestly, it's sickening. It's sickening. I can't take it anymore, man. And plus the hypocrisy of the whole thing is just too much for me. I can't take it anymore there either. It's just too much. Look, you want the truth? Here's the truth, okay? No matter who doesn't want to hear it, no matter who doesn't want to believe it. Look, I don't care. Google it. I don't really care. It's up to you. This country was founded on the idea that you should have religious freedom to worship how you want, to believe in what you want to believe, or to not believe at all, okay? One nation under God doesn't appear in the freaking Constitution. It's not there. Do you understand? It's not there. I just don't understand this copy and paste mentality that a lot of people have. One nation under God was introduced June 14th, 1954 to the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance. I want you to think about that. You thought it was earlier, didn't you? I bet you did. It's no fault of your own if you didn't know. I was raised to believe it's always been there. It's not always been there. One nation under God was introduced in 1954. Chew on that for a second. Chew on that for a second. Tell me how it tastes. Isn't that something? Guess what else happened in 1954? Passed the law, right? Guess what else happened in 1954? "In God We Trust" gets added to our currency. This is thanks to a lot of different factors, not the least of which was the Reverend Billy Graham. I got no hate toward Billy Graham. I grew up in a house here in North Carolina with a Southern mom who loved Billy Graham. Okay? I don't have a whole lot of crazy negative things to say, and I don't feel like diving into it right now. I could tell you some things about his kid, though. About Franklin Graham and the nonsense that goes on there, the way they look down on people, the way they judge people, because everyone's not cookie cutter of them, because everyone doesn't look like them, sound like them, walk around like them, believe the way they do, have sex with the people they approve of. Got a lot of guts doing that, man. A lot of guts. A lot of nerve expecting that from people, dude. A lot of nerve expecting people to be like that, to be exactly like you are. You can argue all day long to me that this nation was founded on Christian principles. If that's what you want to do it. That's fine. But you can't also sit there with a straight face and tell me that our founding fathers, many of whom were apparently slave owners, that they were men of God, Tom. They were men of God. How do you reconcile that? Well, Tom, it was a different time. Don't come to me with that nonsense. Wrong is wrong. I don't care what era it is. I don't know what we're talking about. Wrong is wrong. And by the way, the idea, the simple idea, one nation under God, if nothing else, it goes against everything that our founding fathers did when they got here. Why they wanted to get away from England to begin with. Get away from a monarchy that was telling them not only how to live, but who to pray to, who to worship. And by the way, it was taxing the life out of them. We weren't far from that under Trump, dude. Okay? So again, I got a major problem with that. I know I'm ranting. My apologies. I don't podcast to rant. I podcast because I got things I want to say. And sometimes stuff just comes up. You just happen to catch me on a day when stuff's just kind of coming up. Well, look, I'm just being honest with you. And look, let's convert over here. Let's move over to just the right of this. This idea that, that God is influencing things and that politicians are eking their way into your lives and the Project 2025 thing. Again, if you've not schooled yourself, man, I got to tell you something right now. Take 30 minutes out of your day. It won't take you long. Look it up. Look at what these people want to do to this country. Are you freaking kidding me right now? If you have a soul, if you have anything that even resembles a soul, there'd be no way you'd ever vote for that guy. Now, I'm not saying you're heartless. I'm not saying you're a vile, reprehensible being. Maybe you have reasons to not vote liberal. Maybe you have reasons to not vote Democrat. By the way, that's your business. I'm not asking what your reasons are, okay? I like to understand them because I don't understand them. But you know how many people are voting for him going, I know he's a problem, but I'm sorry, I'm not taking that anymore. And the undecided voters, the first thing they cut to after the debate was the undecided voters. Well, she hasn't said enough yet. Tim Walz didn't say enough. What? Really? The other guy has? You kidding me? The other guy, what's the other guy not said? He said everything to convince you not to vote for him is what he's done. And you're still gonna? At this point, I don't know what more to say about it. It's so frustrating. Let's talk about Project 2025 while we're here. massive hurricane come through, Hurricane Helene, which, from what I understand, hit North Carolina harder than it hit Florida. Take that. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, crazy, man. But it's true. You know what 2025 would do, Project 2025? Eliminate FEMA, number one. Number two, eliminate the National Weather Service. Number three, eliminate federal-backed flood insurance. Number four, eliminate emergency disaster funding for state and local governments. How you like that? And while Trump was out, he showed up, got to have his photo opportunity. You know how important his photo opportunities is to him, right? Or are to him. I mean, come on, man. You know what it means to him to get on camera. He freaking loves it. He thinks he's photogenic. We know differently, but hey, go ahead, continue living in your stupid racist little world, I guess. I'm just saying. But going out there as if he mattered to anything, which he doesn't, in my opinion, as if he mattered at all, okay? Going out there talking about that they couldn't get a hold of President Biden. Governors couldn't get a hold of him. By the way, that's all been proven false. Even DeSantis in Florida. And I'm sorry, but there's a lot of people out there who call Ron DeSantis a scumbag. I'm not saying I called him that. But I'd say he's a man of questionable character. That make you feel better? He's a person of questionable character. And the word person, that's a stretch. The word man, that's an even bigger stretch. He's a being of questionable character. Guess what mud he's slung at President Biden? Nothing. Well, not since last time I checked. But time moves forward, right? Time marches on. So we'll see. Who knows? Here's some facts, okay? This is very easily findable. Just go Google it. I'm not giving you anything here you can't find on your own. But again, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. I want to say some stuff. Here's some facts. President Biden declared a national emergency on Friday, the Friday before, as the storm was hitting. President Biden declared a major disaster on Saturday, which means survivors can already apply for FEMA funds. Now, by the way, all these facts are from October 1st. This is the 3rd as I record this. This is 2 days old. So things I'm sure have escalated since then in terms of manpower and money and all that stuff. Over 5,000 plus National Guardsmen in North Carolina. U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and U.S. Health and Human Services are all working together throughout the region. President Biden spoke to Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, who's a Republican, who, by the way, at his press conference said he got everything he asked for. And that President Biden gave him his personal number and said, whatever you need, you let me know. Roy Cooper, our governor here in North Carolina, asked President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Trump to stay out until rescue missions were complete for obvious reasons. What's the obvious reasons? Because we don't need a talking head in the state right now. Not necessary. We don't need it. People are trying to clean up the mess or trying to work their way through the mess. Last I heard, there was over 1,000 people still missing. We don't need someone in a nice suit and tie showing up from a comforting, air-conditioned jet plane, private jet showing up. Not necessary. So for everyone going off on the president, by the way, Biden, he is President Biden. Okay? Trump is not President Trump. Can we get that straight? I know it's semantics. Enough's enough. President Biden didn't show up because it wasn't the right time. Do you understand? The heck are we doing? Local groups and organizations typically lead the immediate relief efforts. You know what that means? The feds support with money and additional resources, but they're rarely the first to respond. For obvious reasons, let's wake up. FEMA and local groups are shipping in food and supplies via truck, plane, even freaking mules. Mules. I don't know how I've not substantiated that personally. But again, Google's there. Use your Google machine, kids. FEMA search and rescue teams are on the ground and have been for days. Those are some facts. That's not every fact. Those are many facts, okay? Again, what the freak are we doing here? What the freak are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. We're politicizing this. Let's don't bother talking about how Puerto Rico had to wait. We won't get into that. Under the reign of doofus, all right? We won't talk about that. Here's what I can tell you, and maybe I should have led with this. My apologies for not leading with it. I am in Western North Carolina, okay? I'm about an hour from the mountains. I'm about an hour and a half from Asheville. Asheville's wrecked. From what I understand, Chimney Rock, which is about 2.5 hours from me, has been wiped off the map. And, Is that over exaggeration? I don't know. I'm not there. So don't anybody start getting upset at that. I don't know because I'm not there. But I can tell you that it's bad. And I can tell you that I've got friends in this area. I've checked on all of them. Everybody's fine, which I'm very happy to know. And we made it through fine. This is what I was saying I should have led with. We came through it fine in my house, okay? We were very fortunate. We had some tree limbs in the yard, nothing we couldn't pick up with our own hands, okay? We didn't lose power, which I was very grateful to not have lost power. We lost internet and we lost phone service. To say that phone service is spotty was to say that it rained a little bit last week. And phone service right now is still very spotty, but the good news is we got internet back Sunday evening. Now, a lot of folks I know are still without power. So it's happening. Again, this state got hit hard, man. If you're not in North Carolina, let me just tell you, if you don't know anything about us, I mean, do your research. Go look it up. Go look at the pics and video that's coming out from this stuff. I've actually got a column right now on Substack that I published on September 30th. And, take 5 minutes out of your day and read this, if you will. I would appreciate it. And I go into a little bit more detail about, how we weathered the storm and about things that are happening out there. I mean, look, and also you need to know, and I'm sure you know this already, there's plenty of worthwhile organizations you can donate to right now. If you want to know more, you can always go. I included a link in that Substack column I'm telling you about from the Asheville Citizen-Times that had a piece published. I guess it was on the 29th, give or take. Maybe it's on the 30th they published it. And if you open that link, there's a list of links in there of organizations. Yeah, it was published on 29th. Organizations that you can donate to. Money is the biggest thing. And I know people want to donate, bottled water. That's absolutely needed. But look, in this state, bottled water is a little hard to come by at the moment. Okay. At least in my area it is. And again, were we impacted here? Sure. There's trees down all over town. All over town, people don't have power. And I'm sure there's some flooding in my town as well. But again, was I impacted personally to the point of not being able to function? No, thankfully I was not. So again, I'm very grateful for that. But there's plenty of ways you can help. So look, I would encourage everybody out there who's hearing the sound of my voice right now, please take 5 minutes out of your day. Again, go to your Google machine, figure this out. And if you can help anywhere, please help. Because there's real people suffering here, real people struggling, okay? And by the way, these comments are not made for those folks out there who go, well, what we need to do is stop giving money to other countries. I'm so sick of that. I've had my fill of that. Can I say something to you, to be honest with you right now? There's plenty of money in this government to go around. Anyone that tells you there's not is lying to you. I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. We have a deficit. Sure. Do we owe money? Of course we owe money. We're always going to owe money. This idea that we're we're not going to break even. You always owe somebody. If you don't have credit cards, you probably don't own anything. I'm just saying. And by the way, it's okay if you don't. If you found the formula, good for you. I haven't found it. I wish I could. So I'm not talking to those people. Those people are wacky. Well, need to stop sending money to other countries. Stop. Quit worrying about what you think President Biden is doing wrong for 2 seconds out of your freaking day. Please. And just focus more on the people who've been hurt by this. That's what you should be doing. But unfortunately, a lot of people won't. And I won't be able to change anything with a little podcast here that maybe nobody will listen to. I'm telling you, man, I do stuff on this show I don't do on my other shows. My other shows are happy, fun time. I promise you. Those 3 pods, by the way, I'm having such a blast doing them. And I didn't get to do the main event last week for obvious reasons because I didn't have internet. I didn't have internet at home or at the office. But that sucker will be coming back tomorrow, a week later. So, again, very fortunate. I'm glad that we made it through it. And supposedly there's other 2 storms maybe brewing. None of that's true, supposedly. I think that's been debunked. It was just people trying to spread lies and whatnot. Can you imagine people spreading lies on the internet? Shocking. I wonder if some of the talking heads were doing that too. Talking heads on both sides, man. I wasn't trying to lead you to believe it was just one side. It's both sides. Trust me on that. Here's what I'll tell you. If you're not educated about this election still, and you've got like 30 some odd days left, for goodness sake, what are you doing? What in the world are you waiting on? Make it happen. And vote for the right person. Okay? You want to go back to being your crazy racist and homophobic and, I hate the rainbow flag and why can't they just stop being gay and stuff? You want to go back to that way of life where you're telling women how to live and whatnot and just think crazy thoughts in your own head? I guess I can't change your mind. I wish you'd come around to not liberal. I'm not asking you to change everything about yourself. Maybe common sense way of looking at life, and maybe we're all in this together, right? I'd encourage you to do that. But if you don't have it in you, I guess I can't make you, right? I can't make you. But do me a favor, vote for the right person. You ain't got to tell nobody. Nobody in your family is going to know that you voted for Kamala. Unless you want to tell them. That is your business. You can lie like crazy, make you feel better. Make them feel better, lie like crazy. But inside, you'll know you did the right thing. And I don't say this because she's the savior, because politicians are not your saviors. You want to go believe in a higher power, go believe in your higher power. Go pray to your higher power if that's what you want to do. But your higher power is not walking around with a spray-on tan, overweight, and lying through his teeth. That guy's not your savior, and neither is she. These people are human. They F up constantly. One of them Fs up a lot intentionally. And he's a horrible, horrible person, dude. Stop looking to people around you to save you, because they do not exist. They will never exist. Either you believe in a higher power or you don't. And if you don't believe in a higher power, then you're depending on yourself and your family and your friends. And guess what's wrong with that? Nothing. Want to know why I say that? Because it's not my business who you pray to or that you pray at all. That is your business. You understand? See how it can work if we're all on the same page? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking you to reconsider. I'm asking you to think about who you're going to write down on that ballot, what box you're going to check when the time comes. You want to go back to doing all those crazy things and having those crazy thoughts and, being Billy Bob with your friends. Look, I'm in the South. I know how that sounds. I'm sorry. You want to go back to being that way with your buddies, then go back and be that. But look, do the right thing when you go to vote, man. And look, before anybody throws any stones my way, I've got friends who are absolutely going to vote for this guy. Now, can I be honest with you? Some of them I don't talk to anymore because all they can talk about is how great he is. And I'm over that. I've been over that for years. Because again, he's not a savior and neither is she. And if we don't have a savior, you know what that means? We got to depend on each other, right? Because we're all in this together. You're not on an island. Stop acting like it. We're supposed to be part of a broader community here, a broader group. Are we ever going to understand that? Are we ever going to come to terms with that and understand where we are in the grand scheme of things? Who we are in the grand scheme of things? You got one life, man. If you close your eyes, you'll never open them again. And you won't know the difference because you don't exist anymore. You had one shot. Make the best of it. Guess who else should take that advice? Me. Not just you, everybody. Me included, me first, okay? I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, continue trying to find a job, continue trying to keep my head above water and keep my family going in the right direction, keep us moving forward. It ain't easy, I promise you. I'm looking for any and all leads I can possibly get right now. It's extremely tough, but we're all just trying to do the best we can. Don't bring each other down, okay? Don't bring each other down. Look at yourself first, then look at everybody else around you. But the finger pointing at yourself first, man. Am I voting for the person that's going to make the biggest difference? Am I voting because I don't want someone telling me how to live? I don't want someone telling me who to pray to. I don't want someone, again, it sounds like I'm absolutely on the stump for her. I'm not trying to be. At this point, it boils down to common sense and decency. You don't want to use the word morals because you don't agree with gay people? Fine. You don't want to use the word morals because you think every woman that has an abortion is going to hell? Whatever, dude. I can't change your mind. If you really believe that, who's going to be able to change your mind? Certainly not her. Certainly not me. Common sense and decency. That's all I'm saying. That's all I can do. I suspect that's all anybody else can do too. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to me rant. Again, wasn't trying to do that. But I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate you subscribing. The piece that I told you about on Substack, you can find it on Substack at tomclarkpods.substack.com. You can also find me on Medium, medium.com/@tomclarkpods. Again, I appreciate your time. Everybody have a great weekend. If you're dealing with the aftermath of the hurricane, please be safe. Everybody take care of each other. Donate where you can and if you can. Try to say something positive to somebody around you. Check on an old friend or family member you haven't talked to in a while. Remember, we're all in this together, kids. We are all in this together.
For more of Tom's podcasts, please visit boinkstudios.com.